Jen, take roll call, please. You didn't go yet?
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah.
We'll try it.
All right.
Commissioner Corbin.
Here?
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Waldner. Commissioner Abraham.
Here.
Mayor Lindsay.
Here. You have attached the September 29th minutes. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You have before you the agenda for this evening. Any questions or comments?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You have attached the September building permit report. Any questions on it? Not, I'll entertain a motion to acknowledge.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You have acknowledged retail on-sale liquor license transfer from Kyle Ackerman to the Happy Hour LLC. Any questions or discussions there?
Acknowledgement this evening, we would set a date of hearing for 2
Okay.
weeks from today.
Which would be,
Which would be
would it be 2 weeks from Tuesday, or would it be on that Monday?
on that Monday, please.
Yes. And that would be
20th,
October 20th? 5:35?
please. Hang on,
Okay.
that's not right. 27th.
I was gonna say, you can't shorten it.
27th, please.
Okay.
Questions?
Questions at all? Do we have a motion to acknowledge?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Acknowledge a package off-sale malt and beverage South Dakota Farm Wine application from Shopco Stores Operating Company LLC. Now, is this,
Procedure, we would acknowledge this evening, set a date of hearing for 2 weeks on the 27th, and approve at that time. These package off-sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine licenses are unlimited. FYI, Pomida did have one when it was Pomida. When it changed to Shopco, they did not apply for that. Now they would like one.
okay? Now, since we have one at 5:35, set it for 5:40.
If you so choose, that'd be fine.
So moved.
Okay. Do we have a motion to acknowledge and set the date for October 27th at 5:40 PM?
Yeah, I already did.
What's that?
I did.
All right. We have a second? All
Second.
those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. It is now 5:35, or a few seconds prior to it, and we do have representatives from the Madison Knights of Columbus here for their application for the sale of alcoholic beverages for November 7th. Hey, any discussion, questions?
You shall know them by their Tootsie Rolls.
What's that?
You shall know them by their Tootsie Rolls.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Any
No-
questions for them?
Any questions?
Questions for us?
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under new business, consider LED lighting for 2016 Highway 34 reconstruction project. And I'll ask Chad to address this one. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. I'll try to be brief. What this is to start the discussion of potentially considering LED lighting for the 2016 highway project. And if I may give a little bit of background for it before we get to it. In 2009, there was some light pole bases failing on Highway 34, Second Street, and the DOT advised us of those, and we had to take some down and put up some temporary poles. The electric department did. And at that time, the city commission, we coordinated with the electric department on all together to make a request. I think we had, the city commission had to pass a resolution to request the DOT put in new lighting along there. At that time, the DOT indicated the 20% would have to come from the local government, the city of Madison. Since that time, before, and then we went about setting money aside in a reserve for that project. We anticipated at that time was about $40,000. Since that time, since this project has been put onto the state improvement plan for reconstruction, now there is not the required match of 20% for the project. And so lighting is included with high-pressure sodium lights as part of the standard design of this reconstruction. And so fast forward to earlier this year, June or so, some vendors of LED lights had talked to the Dennis Poppin and myself, and I think the mayor was at one of those meetings just talking about LED lighting, and we brought that up to the DOT at that time about looking into that. It wasn't pursued other than to make it known that we had some interest in that until recently, and we approached the DOT about it again and asked them what would it take to consider LED lighting. And basically they said their policy is that they would allow LED lighting. It's not part of their standard procedure. Their standard is the high-pressure sodium lighting. But the local government agency would have to pay the cost difference between what their policy of high-pressure sodium lighting is versus LED. And prior to, leading up to that, we need to know some costs and make some educated decisions. And what the DOT has basically said is Madison must be in agreement that the city will be responsible for the cost of an amendment to their design contract for their consultant for the project, which is estimated to be not to exceed $6,500. And that's HR Green. They're also, the city is under contract with them for the water and sewer portion. That amendment basically is for additional design services resulting from the Madison's request to evaluate the LED lighting. It includes two options for LED lighting: preliminary photometric analysis, and prepares estimates of probable costs to assist the city in making the final determination after this information is in hand, so the city can say, well, are we talking $10,000 more for LED, or $100,000 more, for example? And so that's what the DOT has indicated to us. This was before the Electric Advisory Committee and discussed just yesterday, and they had recommended to the City Commission to proceed with this amendment. However, there was a few questions that they had about that, and which included, does the DOT even have any sort of information from other projects where LED lighting was implemented that in lieu of, or perhaps to supplement this this study? And essentially, with what this, they said the short answer is no. However, they do have some generalities that they could contribute and provide to us. One thing, the amendment is basically a precursor to the redesign of the LED lights, and so much of it's going to be the redesign anyway, because they have to accomplish a full design with the high-pressure sodium and a full design with the LED. But for example, Yankton had a project recently. We thought, well, perhaps we can get a relative idea of the scale of the cost or the cost difference from that. But they are using 40-foot pole heights with 250-watt bulbs versus Madison project with 50-foot pole heights and 400-watt bulbs. And however, they were able to give a general idea, and the LED they anticipated for our project, it may cost, and I emphasize may because they were really kind of taking an educated guess at it, and, not near as close as what this analysis will provide, but $15,000 to $20,000 perhaps is what they thought just off the cuff. They were wanting to have an indication sooner than later if the city would agree to the $6,500, because the project is in their design process right now, and they don't want to delay it. And so that's why this is before the commission. If you were interested in pursuing LED lights, the first thing we'd have to do is basically agree to the 6,500. And that would be if we subsequently use the LED lights or if we don't. We'd be responsible for that cost. That is in a nutshell what this item is.
Okay.
And
And then kind of correct me if I'm wrong, Dennis, in that, but also in this and that it was, there are some of the light poles in that are basically are outside of the DOT's right-of-way, and they're going to be getting landowner permission and that to put them there. And so if the spacing is different, that would be different, on what they need to do. And it's also anticipated that the high-pressure sodium lasts approximately 3 years, and you've got to have them replaced. And the LEDs, they're estimating a 15-year plus lifespan.
Most
So-
of them saying 20, but
And I think that's a good part
So-
of why the DOT hasn't fully embraced this LED lighting at this point, because there just isn't the history behind the LED lights at this time, as much as the representatives from the LED lighting manufacturers would indicate. And so the DOT doesn't have good standards for the LED lighting, doesn't have a good history on it, so their policy is to stick with what is known, tried and true, the high-pressure sodium. But if locals want to pursue it, they can, and the risk is, in some ways, I could say, be put onto the locals, because if the heads if they last 10 years instead of 15 or 20 years, we would be the ones replacing the heads and the costs, and the same with the energy savings. But I think that's pretty well documented, the energy savings will be there. The payback would probably be in the range of 7 to 10 years, with the less frequent head replacement and the energy savings and such like that. I don't anticipate it would get as high as 15 years, but that's another thing that we would anticipate to see from the results of this analysis. And at that time, the commission would, time is of the essence, the DOT has indicated, so they think they'd be able to have this done within, by the end of next week, and potentially to have it before the commission, so a decision could be made whether or not to proceed or not with the LED, because then indeed they have to accomplish what you described, Mayor. If there's different pole locations, that affects their right-of-way acquisition department and the processes for that. So it may be a quick turnaround, and this might be back before you shortly, provided it's your wish to proceed with this.
And Jen, that account, you visited with Chad on that account, and you have that located, so the money is possibly there for that?
We do, also
Okay.
knowing that these expenses likely won't be coming down.
Probably not even before 2016,
2016.
probably
Something like
2017,
that,
maybe
sometime.
2018.
Okay. So we should be all right on the budget end of it too, then. So with that, I'll entertain questions or a motion.
Would you like a motion to authorize moving forward with it?
Yes.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 2, authorize the mayor to sign an application for permit to occupy the right-of-way from Integra Plastics. And again, I'll ask Chad if he wants to address this one.
Yes, this, thank you. This is a relatively common if there's an entity that wants to install something in the public right-of-way. We want to first look at and review what they're proposing to do, and then memorialize any conditions of it being there, and lay out responsibilities and liabilities, et cetera. But then also any authorities that the city would retain to ask them to move it if it interferes with a reconstruction project or anything like that. What this is Integra with their new structure on the south side of 12th Street Southeast. They want to have a what is it, a fiber,
Fiber
conduit
optic.
with a fiber optic connecting the two for their operations, basically. I think they're gonna bore under the road. It won't disturb any of the roadway, and I also talked to them. They did not even indicate that there'll be any access locations in the public right away. Their access pits will be
On their own
on
properties.
properties on either side. And so, and I also did talk to them about making sure they're, get the proper affiliation as required by law or otherwise with the one-call system, so that they're getting calls if there's a one-call located in this area too. I don't know how that works, but typically, we permit this for, SDN is the most common for cables. And SDN has done one for Integra before, but their timing didn't fit with Integra's schedule, and so they decided to do it themselves. Integra would be more equipped to handle the one-call systems, but in this case, it would be Integra's responsibility to line up whatever's necessary for that. I don't have any concerns about this, and I don't believe the Public Works Department does either. They were made aware of this as well, so
Do they have a way to locate it once it's in there?
I do not know that.
Well, when you put it in, that you need to put a locator wire with it, so,
The
Right.
other problem is they'd have to hire or have somebody else do it for them. I'm sure they don't have the equipment.
Right.
mhm,
It'd be nice if they could find it again after it's in there, but.
mhm.
They were made aware of it. There's some risks. I would describe it that way.
But the risk is theirs.
It is theirs. David, do you have any concern? I mean, okay, the language, I think we're insulated, it seems, from.
We've used that before.
We have.
Move to authorize the mayor to sign application for permit to occupy the right of way for Integra Plastics as requested.
I'll second
Second.
it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You have attached bills for approval.
Make a motion to approve the bills.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And bills for ratification.
I'll make a motion to ratify the bills.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You also have some personnel adjustments in that attached.
If there are no questions, I'd move to approve those personnel adjustments.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no other announcements or other business, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are now adjourned.
I'll let them know. I'll